Hello, and welcome to But Are There Dragons, a podcast where two friends pick a book at least one of them hasn't read and talk about it. I'm your host, Kritter.
And I'm your host, Jess.
And we have a very, very special guest today.
Yeah, we do.
Mr. Jessica himself has decided to join us. Welcome, Daniel.
Hello. I'm honored and feel very special.
Well, you should feel very special. We haven't had a guest in... Has it been a year? It's been a long time.
Well, I think your last guest was a little bit more famous than me, too. So
our last guest was Leia.
Okay.
That's still true.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. The levels of fame are inconsequential. We're happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Daniel is obviously Mr. Jessica, but also the DM for our Knights Who Say Chill D&D campaign that streams ideally monthly on my Kritter XD YouTube channel. I am currently in hell, so I haven't been on the stream in a while.
It has been a long time.
Been a long time. Me being in hell was my maternity leave, and my son is now 15 months old. So as you can see, it's been a while. Yeah. But anyways, he does a great job as a DM. So if you want to see him in action, you can see him there. Or Daniel, do you want to plug your podcast?
Yes. Recently, I guess it hasn't been that recently. We started like the middle of last year. Atom Bomb, Wolf Brother 7?
Seven.
I just call him Wolf Brother most of the time. And myself started a podcast called Me, Him, and That Other Guy. And we just kind of talk about pop culture topics. And the joke is that one of us is usually the odd man out of the three, that the other two are more into something. So we talk about, who's always that other guy. So
what was your last episode?
The last episode, we did an end of year thing. We just did that, and it was just kind of talking about like things we liked about the year, and looking into the holidays, things like that. And then we just recorded another one about just starting out the new year and what we're looking forward to. So
nice. Question for you: was Project Hail Mary on that list of things you're looking forward to?
No, actually, it wasn't. I forgot about that.
Okay.
But it should have been.
Yeah, it should have been, because the movie is coming up and I'm very excited about it.
Exactly. So perfect transition, me. All right. So today we are talking about the first half, chapters 1 through 14 of the book Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, which is going to become a movie starring Ryan Gosling, Ken himself, coming up in March, I believe. So I am
March 20th.
Very excited about that. I enjoyed The Martian a lot. That one had Matt Damon, and Ryan Gosling is, he's near and dear to my heart because of N, and then also The Notebook and all the other things that he's been in. He's just been really dominating, I think. And so we went with Project Hail Mary as a book because I had read it. I'm a sci-fi girly as well as a fantasy girly. I've read it probably about a year and a half to 2 years ago and really enjoyed it. And Jessica had not yet read it. So Daniel, you had read it already, correct? Yes. So first impressions, Jessica.
Oh, I'm so hooked. It is fantastic. So I am less of a sci-fi girly. I am much more fantasies and swords and dragons and magic, which spawned a whole bunch of conversations about sci-fi versus magic in our house. So that was fun as we got into it. But I went into this book completely clean, apart from the fact that Mr. Jessica had been pressuring me pretty heavily to hurry up and read it. And that if I read it, to definitely give the audiobook a try, because it was another book that the voice actor, the narrator, did an incredible job. So I've been eager to watch it. I had not seen the trailers or knew anything about it apart from the name of the author.
So totally clean, which I love.
Yep.
And you mentioned the audiobook. I know, Daniel, I think I said this whenever I was plugging it, but you were the one that told me that you started it physical copy and then switched to the audiobook. Is that true?
No, I was all the audio.
Don't know who
told me that. I don't know who it was. Okay, anyways, great. You read the audiobook then?
Yes, and loved it. I loved it. Yeah. So the narrator,
Ray Porter.
Ray, I was gonna say it's Ray something, but the first
Porter.
I've ever heard with him. But there's so many characters, narrators that can do like different voices, and so much in this one is different accents, but giving them their own character, which I thought was just impressive. It's an impressive skill. So
it is Ray Porter, and he did a really good job. And they added some like slight sound effects to Rocky, and we'll get into that later. But like Rocky to me was like the highlight of it. It just distinguished the alien of it all from the humans, who all obviously had different accents because it was a global thing. So like, let's dive into how it started. I wrote, what's 2 + 2? A computer harassing Grace, and him struggling to respond. What an opening. Did it hook you from there, or did it take a while?
Absolutely, it hooked me from there because it put me in a mindset of also trying to problem solve. What was the point of, obviously this was intentional. Why is it questioning him? What is the next challenge? What's the next thing that it's going to unlock by the time he actually can answer, 4?
Yeah.
And it just progressed from there. I will say though, I honestly can't remember, and maybe Daniel, I don't know if you do. I don't remember when the last time was I read something that was not like fantasy. Like I did a whole Wheel of Time read through. I did a whole Stormlight archive. Like I did a bunch of Sanderson. I did my own year of Sanderson. And then I've done Dungeon Crawler Carl. I've done some Akatar. We've done Iron Flame.
Did you read Dune?
I didn't. No, I've never read Dune.
Never read Dune.
Really?
Really?
New achievement.
New achievement. So I'm just trying to think
when
the last time. Yes, I'm trying to think when the last time was I read something that didn't feel fantasy. Like Dungeon Crawler Carl is a little bit different. The Cradle series also I would classify more of a fantasy bend.
Yeah.
I can't think of the last time was I read something that I truly felt was sci-fi. So I kind of had to switch gears a little bit, and it was fun to start me off problem solving and puzzling like that.
So I guess one other thing, like you don't read sci-fi a lot. I'm not sure I get the first person perspective very much. I'm trying to think of like to me it like stood out in this book that it's from the first person POV. It felt good for me to like give context, especially because the Grace, the main character, was kind of discovering things as we were reading him discover them. So like, how did you guys feel about the POV? Did you like it?
Well, I liked it because it gave like exposition. Like you don't have to do a download of what the ship is. Like he's exploring and you're exploring the ship with him and you're exploring the capabilities and things like that. I just wanted to say on the computer questioning him, it gave me like horror story, like the idea of like when you have to prove you're not a robot to get into a website. It's like the ultimate version of that, of like pick all the bicycles. And I'm like, oh my god, are we giving robots ideas on our computers ideas on how to test us and things like that? But no, the exposition was a lot of fun, and it's a way for you to kind of absorb with the character. And Martian was very much the same kind of way that you're learning through what they experience, and I think it makes
I thought it was a great way to introduce me to the environment, because it was a way for him to show his work, right? Like it showed his mindset and how he was making his deductions. And they did a sufficient job of dumbing it down for those of us who don't have like a scientific bend of mind.
Right.
Well, I guess, okay, so that was something I was planning to ask you. It's not too sciencey. It doesn't go too far with the science.
There was one spot where I got a little bogged down where he was moving the module and he took it off of autopilot, and he was put off not by how complex it was, but by how simplistic it was. It was just 3 dials, and it was pitch, yaw, and something else. And I was like, okay,
roll.
Yeah,
I'm gone.
Yeah.
I'm gone. But cool. I believe in him at that point. And it was far enough in that I felt like I could hold on. And I'm a pro, right, at suspending disbelief and just going along for the ride. So it's the same flex.
Okay. Daniel, too much science?
No, I mean, that's one of the things I loved about it. I've got a science background, and that's one of the things I loved about The Martian. And so same kind of thing. what I told Jess was because I'm now listening to it with her as she's going, so I'm just kind of listening beside her, so she just has it going, and I get to listen again, which I have no complaint about because I'm like I love the book.
Yeah.
But I was told her I'm like because of my scientific background, I know what he's doing when he's doing it. I couldn't pull the formulas up like he could. Like, okay, that's this plus this was. I'm like, but if you give me a Google, I could pull up that formula and put it in front of me and do the math. I'm like, oh, okay, this is what he's doing, and so I personally love that. I don't know if it's dumbed down enough, but I guess Jessica, you felt like you could
Yeah.
kind
There was a
of
very
keep up with it.
brief window in the beginning when we were talking about the things that Nanny Bot was doing for him, where I'm like, those are electrodes. They're monitoring this, this, and this, because
Yes.
because of my day job, I have a little bit more in the biology cup. But
Yeah.
once we got into like physics and space, oh no, I'm just cruising along.
But I will give Jessica this. At one point before they did the reveal of the lab, when they'd have to rotate it. She's like, "How's that going to work? There's no gravity." And I was so proud of her before he even thought of it himself. Then Grace is like, "Wait, I need gravity for that. How am I?" And so I was like, "Hey, good job."
Oh, look at you. I love that.
Yeah.
I think for
Every
me,
once in
like,
a while.
I think for me, the very, very beginning, I feel like was very front loaded with science. There was like more than because he's doing experiments that he's like explaining kind of. And I'm not sure I would take away the explanations just to just be like, trust me, this is real.
Yeah.
But I do feel like I liked it even better. And I never disliked it, but I liked it even better once he kind of settled in and it became more of like all right, we're not doing gravity experiments anymore. We're like actually we know the problem and we're trying to figure out how to solve it. Right. That was,
Yes.
or like when we met Rocky and we're trying to figure out how to communicate with him. That was the kind of thing that I was like, okay, let's go. Cause I like the plot furthering. And I get that at the beginning he was trying to like get his bearings and I understand that he needed to be getting his bearings. But again, like I like it once, like for me, sometimes books take a minute for me to be like, okay, let's go. Like I'm into it now. Right. And I won't say that this book was that way because I was into it immediately, but I was like, okay, now that I'm hooked, I want to progress.
Let's go.
Yeah. And so all that being said, this book is based on a flashback model, which is all kind of a part of the first person. He's having flashbacks. He's remembering the context of the situation that he's in. How did you feel about the flashbacks? Like, do you like how it's like, would you rather it have been chronological or do you like the flashback model?
Flashbacks generally don't bother me if they're done the right way. In this case, because there's more logic to, like, I feel like I'm wearing my deduction hat, my detective hat much more with this book than I do with the fantasy books. I'm like, I don't know the rules. I'm just gonna, wait for the pretty magic bombs. So with this book, I like that it's at least a consistent perspective. It's always his perspective. It's just determining whether it's current or past. And I honestly, it resonated with me that he would just occasionally have stuff floating up from his subconscious. So I generally do like the flashback model unless it's like really abused. And I like the fact that it makes for, at least so far, a consistent perspective.
Yeah, right. I like it. Daniel?
I think it was a very good conscious choice to do the flashback style, and I'll tell you why. And I didn't realize it until I was listening to it the second time with Jess. If we did it like a chronological order, it would have felt differently as a story. It would have felt more like Armageddon or Deep Impact.
I was just gonna say it was Armageddon. If you went chronological, it would be Armageddon.
It changes the feel. So now we're able to. I think you can shorten the amount of the story being told because you can focus and use those those flashbacks specifically to what those memories need to be, instead of if you just did just those memories chronologically, it would be broken. So now we can focus more on in the ship and what is going to go on and the next page, the next phase of beyond what we've read so far. But it lets it be more about Ryland and about the ship itself, and then you get just whatever you need. You can pick exactly what you need out of it.
Yeah, I found myself the first read, especially like salivating for the flashbacks because I wanted the context. Like, what is going? Like, why is he in space? And like, okay, the reveal that it wasn't their son, that he was at a different son. I was like, what? There was so much going on, and obviously that wasn't necessarily in a flashback. That was one of the sciencey things. But still, it was like there's so many things that I was just, the more we found out, the more hyped I was, and I felt like we were getting a lot of information in the flashbacks, and so it just, I was just waiting and waiting for them every time.
I feel like the writer did a really. Oh, sorry, Dan.
I was going to say, one of the interesting things about the flashbacks to me was, and I had never thought about it until I read this book, was he needed information. And it's like, you can't, it's like so many scientific movies or sci-fi movies, you're like, I'm going to look around the room and I'm going to, like, he couldn't do that. He could only, it's like, how many times do you see your name in a memory? How many times, like, people like, hey buddy, how you doing? Or hey pal, or like your significant other might not ever call you by your name. You're like, okay, I got to get a memory where somebody says my name, and so it's that was such an interesting thing of restricting, like, he's like, gosh, I got to think of something. Just somebody show me a piece of paper or something. So that was another fascinating component of controlling it with a flashback. It was almost like tension, because it's like, how long is it going to take him to just find his name?
Just his name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, intention is a good segue, because all I was going to say was, as a net new author for me, having never read The Martian, never read any Andy Weir, I feel like you did a really good job getting you to the point where you were, like you were saying, Kritter, really craving that flashback, like craving that extra information and context. So, that's really tight writing, in my opinion. He did a great job making you want that info.
I do wonder if he has a space background. I didn't look into it, so because both The Martian and they're both very sciencey, right? And so you would he could be a high school science teacher, as far as I know, and then he became an author. I don't know about.
I don't think so. I saw an interview with him. He just does really extensive research. He's a research guy, and once he finds something, he just kind of gets lost in that and kind of just follows the flow.
Mad props to Andy Weir. Yeah, well done, sir. So, speaking of context, it was a big reveal for Grace that he was on a spaceship. Jessica,
yes.
Was it a big reveal for you?
It wasn't. I saw 0.4 seconds of the trailer before I was told to cover my ears and go la la la. So I saw a picture of Ryan Gosling wake up on what I assume, but also I had kind of inferred it because I've heard a lot of people draw parallels to The Martian, and not just because it's the same writer. So I wasn't that surprised that we were on a spaceship. But I'm really, really glad that I, went full earmuffs for everything else, because all of the other reveals have been huge payoffs. So I've been really glad to come into this book completely clean.
Yeah.
You did some hard work.
I did.
That's intense. Preventing it. Yeah. I know I think the movie poster also has Ryan Gosling floating in 0G and in something that maybe looks like a spacesuit. So I understand that was probably something you could not avoid. I think even as someone who read it before the movie ever happened, or ever threatened to happen, I'm pretty sure I knew immediately that he was on a spaceship. It's not that hard to figure out. So. Yeah. Also, how boring if he wakes up and he doesn't know where he is and he's just in some Truman Show chamber or something. I don't know. I mean, that could have been interesting, but
Kritter, I wanted to ask you, because you had read this before, you listened to it before. When you heard Ryan Gosling was going to be Ryland Grace, did that surprise you? Because that's not who I pictured at all.
I don't know who I would have pictured, but the moment I found out, I was like, I love that, because the humor, the dry sense of humor that he has, it worked for Matt Damon, and I think it would work also for Ryan Gosling. Have you seen Crazy Stupid Love?
Yes.
Okay, love that movie.
So funny in it, and he's just very and La La Land. He's just got this
Fall Guy.
Fall Guy. I actually haven't seen Fall Guy. I know. I hear it's good. I hear it's good. I know.
It's really good.
And obviously Barbie. And so there's so many things that he's done that he really melts into the character that he is, but almost without effort. He's incredibly charismatic and charming. And I found Grace, I could buy in to Grace being that way, right? He was chosen for this huge mission, right? And so anyways, it was just It works. I think it works. I don't know who else I would have done. I guess maybe like, oh my gosh, what's the guy? Who's the guy who plays Hawkeye? Clint. Oh no, that's his name.
Jeremy Renner.
I could see like Jeremy Renner doing it, just because he's kind of like he would be a more serious version. But I could see him doing it too.
I have a follow-up question then.
Well,
sorry.
Can I give you my opinion on who I was picturing? Nathan Fillion, a little older,
who's kind of Jeremy Renner-ish.
Yeah,
kind of similar vibes.
But when I saw the trailer for, because I knew the humor of Ryan Gosling, same kind of thing, and seen him in, I was like, he could pull off the humor, he could pull off the charisma. But Ryan Grace, I'm like, he's not really charismatic, but he is kind of self-deprecating and stuff like that. And then I saw the video of them, of how they kind of just gave him kind of like a moppy haircut, and immediately he kind of became this kind of nerdier version of himself. And Ryland is definitely a nerd.
Yeah.
And it's like just that one little change. I'm like, oh yeah, I get it now.
Yeah, it's wild because like you've seen, I mean, we talked about all the stuff where he's like fun and charismatic and whatever, but like, Blade Runner 2049, Drive, right?
Yes.
That was like he's a chameleon. I think like he doesn't get enough credit. I don't think for like his work and the breadth of his work, and so I just got super hyped. Also, like he's not bad to look at. Like so that was a fun. I
can't believe you're there.
I'm pretty excited. I'm really excited. I don't want to. Anyways, Jessica, you were saying.
All I was going to ask is, have you now seen the trailer?
No. No, I need to. I know. I need. Maybe I'll do a reaction video.
So just so you know, the second I finished chapter 14. We watched the trailers on the big screen TV because
they don't go past chapter 14. I don't know.
Okay. Well, they do. You'll recognize what's beyond it, but I'd seen them before, and I'm like, there's a couple scenes in there that you're not going to know what's going on until you read.
It's not going to spoil anything. Yeah, really. Okay. Yeah. No, I haven't watched it because I've been trying to like. I don't know. It's weird with trailers because as a content creator, I'm always like, maybe I'll do a reaction video. And then I just end up not watching them until like I happen to be at the movie theater and they come on the screen there. And then I'm like, oh, but how many times do I go to the movie theater with a 15-month-old? Not many.
Yeah.
Though I did go see Avatar. So it was cool.
I would recommend the trailers, both of them.
Okay, I'll have to check them out. I'm really hyped for the movie. That'll be one of the ones that I get a babysitter for to go see for sure in theaters.
I was just so frustrated that they gave away Rocky in the first trailer.
Yeah. Okay. Did
they? Okay. Well, but I was more careful about her than you.
No, I know Rocky.
And like right away, I'm like, you can't watch this. Yeah, it's one of the most important, secrets of the whole story is that this guy comes knocking on the window.
Yeah. So speaking of, were you surprised that there are aliens in this, or at least one alien in this book?
Yes, I thought that it was brilliant the way that it was revealed, breaking through the astrophage line, the Petrova line, and then just all of a sudden the ship was there. Everything about how they introduced was just so fun, and I devoured it to the point where I was so glad that we were finally recording this tonight because I can't wait to go back and devour the rest of the book. Like I've been, might as well tell everybody who's either watching or listening. Like I texted Kritter as soon as I was done and said, just so you know, it's going to be the longest 4 days of my life. So, no, all of it. I couldn't wait. It was playing in the car. It was playing in the house. I was listening to it wherever I could. And then once I had to hit stop, I'm like, well, you're going to have to watch the trailers with me now so that I can tide myself over.
Oh, darn.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So I had written, what did I write? Nope, just kidding. I didn't write anything down. Carry on.
Blip A was on the screen.
Yeah, I mean, I just had so many fun reactions at the moment, and I don't know how many of them Daniel was in the room for or not, because let's be honest, honestly, I'm reading in bed and I am doing the read along thing, right? I'm on my Kindle, but I have the audiobook playing, and that's what he's talking about when he says he has to hear it too. And then we're listening to it in the car while we were doing road trips and things. There was a moment on my top 5 moments in chapter 3 when he names it Astrophage. I was just like,
yeah,
cool name, like out loud.
it is a
And I
cool
don't
name.
know how many of those things Daniel had to live through, but I had a lot of just little moments like that. And it, Rocky coming onto the scene was definitely part of that.
Yeah.
There was lots of holy shit, holy smokes, holy, oh my God.
I loved, one of the things I loved about the way that they did, because Ryland Grace is very similar. One of the things you can say about this is the Martian and Project Hail Mary are similar in that they're an isolated scientific. So he gave this its own feel in enough that I can appreciate both separately. But one of the things that I'm like, I loved about it, and I was like, I would probably be the same way in personality terms, is getting to name stuff. Because it's like he was in the Tau Ceti system, and he goes,
Mhm.
I call it a Tau light. And if you got a problem with that, it's not sunlight. It's I got to
Yeah.
call it Tau light. So I'm like, that's how I would be. I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna name it that. That'll be cool. So
Well, and he's always like, at least I didn't name it after myself.
exactly, exactly.
Yes.
Which is true. Although I feel like I'd name one thing after myself, though I
Yes.
don't know what I would have named after myself, if I'm honest.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I love that tongue-in-cheek humor. There was one that I did write down. I just found it in chapter 8. The quote, I highlighted it: humanity's first miscommunication with an intelligent alien race. Glad I could be a part of it. And I was
Yeah.
like, yes, that
Yeah.
is a great example of why I've been really enjoying this read.
Yeah, the humor is a huge part of it for me. That just like, obviously I'm hooked on the what's gonna happen situation, or like I was, at least bye Jessica.
I'll do my best.
There she is. Okay, I'll put her back. One moment.
Hello.
Yay.
Hello. You're just gonna weirdly swap positions and it'll be fine.
It's fine.
It'll be fine. Who was talking? I don't even remember.
You were excited about the humor.
Great. Yes. Okay. So I love the humor. I feel like it's an integral part of it. I obviously care about what's going to happen, but I think like Andy Weir, I appreciate. Like I didn't actually read The Martian. I only watched the movie, and I definitely feel like I should read The Martian now.
Same.
Because I've heard some people say that they prefer it, and I find that like I wonder if you prefer the one that you read first, just because it sounds like they might be somewhat similar in tone. You think so, Daniel?
I have learned in my personal experience, if I see the movie first, I can appreciate both separately. If I read the book first, I struggle to appreciate them separately. So I've done that in multiple things. Like if I watch the movie first, I can be okay. But,
okay, but
The Martian, I saw first and then I read. So,
but between whether you read Project Hail Mary or read The Martian first, like I wonder, like some people like the book The Martian more than the book Project Hail Mary, but they read The Martian before they read Project Hail Mary, and I wonder because they're so similar, if it's really just a matter of which one you read first. Because I just find it hard to believe that I would like The Martian better than this one. And part of it maybe is because of the communication aspect that I don't think it didn't exist in The Martian because he's not trying to communicate with alien life. But like,
yes,
the interacting, first contact, like that kind of a thing adds just an element of fantasy to it a little bit that I obviously am going to appreciate. So, and I'm just a big, like, I don't want to say world building, but like discovering new cultures, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like discovering Rocky's culture, they watch each other sleep because they're fully shut down and they can't defend themselves. Stuff like that is just like so cool of Andy Weir to have come up with. Just this unbelievably weird alien race. So yeah, I really appreciated all of that. But I do want to read The Martian just to see.
I'd suggest it. It's very good. The Martian, they are similar in many ways, but in other ways they aren't. I mean, The Martian was a study on isolationism, not isolationism, but on being isolated and what the effect on a person to be that isolated for that long. And then you had the scientific discovery and the same type of humor, the tongue in cheek humor is still very much there.
I wonder which one he wrote first.
Martian.
It was The Martian.
Sure.
Martian.
Yeah, Project Hail Mary came out like 2021 or something.
Yeah,
I could be lying, but it's like it's more recent.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But.
Anyway, so speaking of Rocky, kind of weird transition. There are very few characters in this book. Very few. Strat is probably the second most featured, except for maybe Rocky. Like Rocky and Strat are maybe neck and neck in this first part. Did you like Strat, Jess?
I did. God help me. And I know, listen, I know that a lot of people think that I'm like a bubblegum girl in a lot of ways, and I am. I'm such a vibe girly. I really am at heart. I'm good vibes and everything. But I love a hardcore B who gets it done.
Yeah.
I cannot emphasize enough the respect I have for the civil disobedience of it all. Like, this is a situation that calls for X, Y, and Z and extreme clarity, and you just commit to the vision. It's not that she's the scientist, she's not the subject matter expert at any of these topics.
Yeah.
But she is assembling, she is cutting through all of the haze, the noise, all of it. So yeah, I like Strat. Let me reel that back in a little bit. Yes, I like Strat.
Daniel, Strat fan?
Oh, absolutely. The world is lucky to have had her, because if they didn't, they wouldn't have been able to do what they could. It makes me wonder if you could take Strat out of this book and put her in another series, how well she could achieve. Like, if you put her in Wheel of Time, stuff gets done in 7 books.
Okay, that's fair. I was gonna say Strat is like Moraine is like the Strat of Wheel of Time, you know?
That's fair.
She's like no nonsense, like we're gonna do this, but then of course she's like herding cats and trying to get these teenage kids to do what they're supposed to do. So it's
Moraine does not have an aircraft carrier at her disposal to get done what she needs to get done. So
exactly. I appreciated her court appearance where she's like, I figured I'd get sued by a bunch of people, so I wanted to knock it out all at once.
Yes.
And then Grace asks her later, you know, are you expecting to get prosecuted? And she's like, yeah, but like, what else am I supposed to do? I got to save the world.
And that was when that like clinched it for me, right? Like, I was already impressed, and that she's just cutting through everything and just getting what needs to be. No different than grocery shopping, right? She's going to the shelf, she's picking the things up, she's moving forward. No noise, no fuss, no muss. But that specific civil disobedience piece, like, I understand there will be consequences, but this is what needs to be done, and consequences be damned.
I thought it was interesting to kind of compare her to, because I love D&D, played it for decades at this point. If you compare her to D&D, she is the ultimate chaotic good character, because she's like, I will do whatever it takes for good. She may not, before this started, she may have been more lawful good or neutral good because she respected order. But the moment that she was selected for this, she recognized, I have to break through it, and it has to be for the greater good.
Yeah. So. I think I will say that if one thing in this book annoyed me at all, it was how like continuously flabbergasted Grace was with Strat's authority, right? He's just like, what do you mean? Like, how you just are in control of everything? I swear he said that like a million times. And like, you know, and it was like funny, right? Because obviously it would be an absurd situation, but at a certain point, you got to get used to it, right? Like, she's in charge, and that's just going to be that. Like, listen.
Well, at a certain point, he's at the other end of the table, and there's other people being surprised, and he just raises his head up, like,
she does that.
Finally, this is.
I think that was the last interaction I saw where he was just like, "Yeah, she does that."
Yeah. Finally, I'm used to it. Halfway through the book, and you know, we'll continue to be used to it, I guess. Yeah, so there's Strat. There's obviously the other characters. The environmentalist, can't remember his name.
Yes. Francois Leclerc.
Okay, that was pretty brutal. That was a brutal sequence.
He felt like he was betraying his entire life's work, but still recognized that it had to be done. That was heartbreaking almost.
Yeah, it was like at first when they were like, yeah, it turns out global warming actually saved us some time. I did not think it was going to get taken
to next
that level, but it makes sense. It makes sense, but I hated it, right? Like, who wants that? Like, who wants that? It was so sad. I don't know. was really
and we just paved the Sahara, so that changed things too. So he was mad about that. So he's like, "Well, we just paved the Sahara, so might as well do this too."
What are we gonna do? Although, honestly, no, I wouldn't pave the Sahara. But in my head, I was like, wow, having all that renewable energy is actually kind of great.
Yeah.
Minus, not to obviously, without thinking about all the species, it's gonna completely obliterate
the ecological effects. Yeah.
Yeah, which would be really sad.
I liked that guy that they met him in prison. The guy that did the paving of the Sahara.
Goodell.
Yeah, because he's like, well, I didn't kill those people, but you're in here for something else. He's like, no, I stole the money, but I didn't.
I took the money.
Yeah, totally. He's like, oh, I took the money.
Yeah,
I didn't get those people killed though.
Right. Yeah, the little cast of characters. We didn't meet a ton of people, but they were good characters, all of them. I appreciated them. There was no one in it that I was like, oh, this guy again.
I did tell Jess that I think one part that I'm kind of calling now for the movie for streamlining is they'll get rid of the UN scientist, female scientist that came in and says you have to do this in gravity for this equipment, and had the idea to rotate the lab around. I think they're just that'll just be part of the design of the ship. I don't think they'll. That's what that character really does so far.
Yeah,
so
TBH, I had already forgotten that happened, so that does feel like something you could definitely.
Yeah. I was like, they'll just make that part. They'll talk about it, but they won't bring in that character. There's no need for that character to. Somebody else can just have that idea.
They'll use a sentence or two to do movie magic to account for it.
No, one thing I do hope is in the movie is the early flashbacks, like him with the kids, him with his colleague that they get drinks every week, but then she's like throwing him back completely depressed. Like, no, this is a problem, right? And then the slow realization that turns into dread. Like, that is a thing that I think it didn't take a ton of space. It didn't take a ton of time in the book, but it was done so effectively that I want that to happen. And also, I just really appreciate that he's a teacher. My mom's a teacher. I grew up, staying after school, waiting for her to get done with her lesson plans. So I've been in schools my whole life, and just, so the fact that he was worried about his kids. Oh my gosh. And
his
also
kids.
the reveal that he was like, I really like kids, but I'm single and I don't have any of my own. I don't like where this is going badly.
The almost red flag that was actually a green flag.
It's okay.
Yeah, that cracked me up.
Well, I was going to say this earlier when we were talking about the flashbacks and the effects of them. It gives the ability to give the character more depth. Because you get to see these specific moments. Because if you don't have those, then you're just what's he's doing in the ship and you can only learn so much about a character in a room by themselves with an alien creature. You only learn so much, but if you see them around other people, so that flashback gives that depth of character that you wouldn't be able to achieve otherwise.
Yeah. And one of the flashbacks in particular, he realizes that it's a one-way trip, right? And we found that out early on, that it was a one-way trip. That would be really rough, psychologically, right? Obviously they took into account we can't have them awake for this long, because psychologically that would be a problem. But I don't know how I would have reacted to that.
So I had a secondary reaction for that. So yes, the coming to terms with and the conversation around, I actually highlighted it, right? Besides, we're already asking these people to die. We shouldn't ask them to suffer emotional torment for 4 years too. Science and morality both give the same answer here, and it. That was kind of a heart-wrenching thing to read. However, and yes, it's terribly sad that he's on a one-way mission that is a suicide mission. It is sad. I promise I'm human and have emotions. I was sideswiped by the fact that once he met Rocky, now there's another living being who potentially has to perceive his passing or loss. There is now somebody else who is there, and one of them's going to lose the other at some point, even if it's just due to old age.
Yeah.
Which is not likely to be due to old age.
Yeah, but you're assuming Rocky can't go back. You don't know that.
No, I'm just saying I don't know what will happen. And I'm either Grace dies, which is the most likely scenario, or Rocky leaves, or Rocky dies.
Yeah.
Somebody's leaving somebody.
Will parting be sweet sorrow in this case? Like, well, how will they part? When will they part? What's going to happen?
So once I came down like half a tick from the excitement of meeting Rocky and them working out their own language and counting and all of these things, which are beautiful and fun to experience, I was like, oh my God, there's another being that's going to experience this loss with him. And I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
One of the things I like about the whole thing, the question of like, what would you do if you found out that you were on this suicide mission for a good cause? I think you have to look at Ryland Grace as an everyman character. He's not a jet pilot. He's not an astronaut. He's not an army hero that, is the ultimate patriot. He's a science teacher. And so we get to experience the story of like, that could be me in that shuttle because I didn't have the coma thing, the genetics that was required. So that being an everyman character lets us be that much closer to the experience than if we were looking at an ultimate hero, like I said, an astronaut that is the classic hero. He's still a hero, but he's an everyman hero.
Yeah, he wasn't like, this is maybe too deep of a cut for some people, but have you seen Interstellar?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, so actually, Matt Damon's character, ironically, whenever like early in the movie, they kept talking about him as like the best of us. He's the best of us. He did this voluntarily. He wanted to do it, right? Like he knew he might die and he didn't care, all that stuff. And like, to me, that it's not as believable as Grace, right? Who is there and is like, oh, damn, like, like he's not just this, I'm happy to do it. He's doing it, but he's not happy about it. And that's more realistic. It's, you relate to him a lot more. So yeah, you're totally right. He's definitely more of an everyman than this like da 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 da.
Because
I'm here
Captain
to save
America,
the world.
Captain America like volunteered to do it. You believe it? It's Captain America. Of course, he's going to suicide himself to save the world. But my sixth grade science teacher, who was kind of weird and had asthma, I'm just
interesting. Like, okay, cool.
And also, I feel like that's another tip of the hat to the author, right? That he did a good job of every interaction that advanced Grace to a point where in the flashbacks where you're like, oh, so this is how he got here. Andy Weir did a good job of like teeing that up. Like, it's completely plausible. It all tracks. It all makes sense. That he went from literally just being a super secret consultant to all of a sudden he's the dude in the suit,
in the chair.
Yeah.
So
at this point, are we like, do we like Grace as a person? Like, would we get a beer with Grace?
Absolutely.
Yes, I think he's probably one of my favorite protagonists in a long, long time.
Yeah.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah, I'm trying to
just
think.
The humor, the smarts.
The humor, the intelligence.
But you believe he's believable.
And I think the enthusiasm too.
Yes.
Right? He's in this horrible situation and he's still got this desire to learn, this desire to discover.
And he has a full fangirl moment. Like, he has his own fangirl moment. Science is his fandom. Right on.
Yeah.
And, he's like, holy smokes, I'm about to have, encounters of the third kind. And I get to be the one that does that. And he gets to nerd out about all that science.
Listen, I started with an engineering degree and I've moved on to other things now, but I will tell you that there is nothing quite as satisfying as working out 3 pages of calculations and you get to the right answer at the end of it. It's its own euphoria. So I can understand the zest for science of like, oh my God, I actually got the right answer. And here's all of my notes to prove my work. So it's like, so it's,
and I know enough to go, and there's a formula for that. Carry on.
That's true.
Okay.
But, there's something else I was going to say that I can't remember what it was. Just a zest for science was what I was going to say. So
yeah, I was a fan of that for sure. I like him. I do like him. I think he's a cool, down to earth dude.
I remember what I was going to say. We were talking about the flashbacks too. I thought it was so funny, and I think I mentioned it to Jess as we got about halfway through this, was he is a science teacher who doesn't curse. And
I love that.
Even the amnesia, he didn't curse. He still never, and it's like, oh, is that so like ingrained in your personality that it's just hardwired in of, no cursing? He's like, oh, I just say shucks, or I say darn, or so yeah, I thought that
and
was
that
an
he
interesting
realized it in his self-exploration.
It's like, what's going on? Like,
why do I talk curse like this?
Yeah, why do I talk like this? And we figured it out eventually. Yeah. Okay, so that's the end of my notes. Jessica, did you have anything else that you wanted to talk about?
We touched on, I just had 2 other bullets for my top 5 moments. So as Grace and Rocky are getting to know each other, the jazz hands references.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Gave me so much life. They gave me so much life. I can't, it's so precious. And then the other one is sad, but the reveal about Rocky's crew. So again, this is one where I think Daniel was in the room for, and he, the narrator made a comment about Rocky wanted to stay and watch, and Grace acted like that was weird, and he's like, don't you want to go back to your people? And I'm like, you assume he's got people. And so that was kind of happening rapid fire real time, where I'm talking back to the narrator.
Like, you don't know.
You don't know. You're making an assumption. And then he reveals that his whole crew has died, and that they all died. The eventual reveal that they all died due to radiation exposure, and that Rocky was protected because he was down, behind the astrophage, and it provided essentially a shield. And that was pretty heartbreaking. Also, when Rocky started to shut down, I thought it was precious, though, watching over you while you sleep. And I thought it was precious. I no notes on that, but also the fact that I'm like, there's probably a reason. And then sure enough, the author provided us a reason that they legitimately shut down. And so they stand guard and watch over each other as they sleep, for reasons.
Yeah. Rocky was just delightful. He was so much fun. Like the jazz hands for yes was really good. Like the sad, like excite, like the way he like repeated things when he wanted to emphasize them. All of that, the communication was just really,
and the music notes for the audiobook was just brilliant.
That was one of the reasons I wanted you to do the audio, just because it was the music notes kept you in the story, because you're like, oh, you're hearing it.
So. Fun fact, the first scene that I got to that Rocky was in and actually spoke, Daniel asked me to pause, and he's like, what does that look like in the book? And so I showed him on the Kindle, and it's just music notes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I have the physical copy, and I didn't look. I didn't think to look. That's funny.
Yep. So
I wonder if the music, now,
probably,
I don't know how to read music, but I bet they're right,
I bet so. I bet so.
Yeah.
He does the research.
I can recognize half a dozen notes, but I don't have an ear for it or anything.
Yeah. No, I love that in the audiobook for sure. Highly recommended if you're deciding between reading the physical copy and the audiobook, because they'll play. They talk about how, Rocky, he can't see. He's got sonar or whatever, he's totally different in the way he sees and perceives things, and so his communication is very musical, which is really cool, and that's translated into the book, the audiobook, which was lit. And I basically only read audiobooks these days, and so I wouldn't have known that it was going to be different, but it added to the experience, I think.
It did,
having it in the audiobook.
I think
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say the comparison of their scientific process and evolution.
Yeah.
How it's like, oh, you guys are so far ahead of us. He just assumed they were so far ahead of him. And he goes, oh, wait a second. You don't know this, but I know this. And you never even had a reason to know this. So this whole part of your scientific understanding is missing. And it's it's really kind of cool to see their, not competition, but comparison.
They had never been to space. They had created Xenonite, which is impossible. Wild. Impossible for us. So there were so many And it was explained so well, right? Like, we are more advanced than them in some ways, they're more advanced than us in some ways, and let's work together, make it happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That was what I was going to actually speak to, just from a little bit of a different perspective. That one more way in which Rocky was impressive is that they do that without any visual input, and having never done like extraplanetary travel, like this was their first time sending a ship out into orbit, and they still got there, and it was just even more impressive.
Yeah. And the explanation for it too, like, there's a limited number of civilizations that like don't have enough technology to just win, and have enough technology to send a ship as far, right? And that's why
I think that's like the showing the work piece, like that explains it to somebody like me who hadn't really thought about it through.
Yeah, it totally worked.
One of my sorry, I was just gonna say one of my favorite parts of this. There were so many. I loved every single part of it. There was like no notes. I just can't think of anything I hate, but it absolutely hooked me when they started the anthropological connection between the two languages, and like what's the process, because it's like I felt myself like, how would I do it? Like, oh, you start with one, you start with me, you're like that whole thing, and them walking through that, I could not get back to the book fast enough. Like, I was doing it in the car, and I stayed in the garage one time for a while, and she opened the door to look for me when I was reading it a long time ago, and I was like, there's a really cool part, I'm not getting out of the car yet, so I gotta find out what happens with Rocky.
I like the fact that Grace a couple times was like, Rocky's better at this than I am. Like, he's already done this, and this. And that was really a great take from the author, got like as well.
A photographic memory, except for that he can't see. So he's just, his processing power is just way, way, way higher than ours. But we have computers to make up for it. So,
and he can't understand computers. He's amazed by computers. So.
Yep. Which, it's cool. It's just, I love the comparison between the two peoples, civilizations, whatever. It was a really, really neat. Andy Weir has a fan in me for sure after reading this book the second time. Well, halfway through the second time. For sure. So are we out of your notes, Jessica? We
are. Okay. Can I make a request?
Absolutely.
As we go into the next segment, can you go first?
Absolutely. I'll go first. Okay. So, on But Are There Dragons, every episode we pick an MVP from the read that we just did. So for chapters 1 through 14, we're going to pick an MVP and a runner-up, which is hilarious because there's so few characters in this book, but there's enough that we can pick an MVP and a runner-up. Because we're doing 2 sections of Project Hail Mary, we will take the scores from this first section, look at the scores from the second half of the book, and we will ultimately pick a book MVP. But for now, we just have the first section to do. So since I'm going first, I will tell you who my runner-up. Do you want me to do the runner-up or just straight up MVP first? Reveal the MVP.
Do runner-up. We usually do runner-up.
We do. I just didn't. I didn't know what you were doing. Okay, so my runner-up. See, this is the one that I'm the most torn about. My MVP is clear, but my runner-up MVP is between. Well, it's going to totally give away who my MVP is. It's between Grace and Strat. because Grace, like, is fun. He solves some problems, whatever. He's the guinea pig at the beginning, all of that stuff. But really, the person who made that happen is Strat. So you know what? I'm talking myself into it. Strat's my runner-up. Strat, just because she is a get-her-done kind of a gal. And without her, none of it would have happened. And Grace, she dragged Grace kicking and screaming into this project at the beginning.
Multiple levels.
And so I feel like she needs some props. And I have every confidence that Grace will get more love next read. Anyways, okay. Daniel, do you want to go next?
I go second.
Who's your runner-up?
My runner-up, we haven't spoken about this character, but I find them very important for the spin drive technology. And it was the Russian Dmitry that developed the spin drive, because that spin drive is used in multiple parts of the ship.
Okay.
And like for navigation, for propulsion, for everything. And it's like he's one of those that even outside of his scientific knowledge, his connection with and friendship with Grace in the early flashbacks kind of helps you understand Grace better, because they kind of nerd out together, across 2 languages. And it's like, I think Dimitri's a very important character that doesn't get a lot of credit.
Okay, that helps. Thanks, guys.
Jessica,
so
did you not have yours chosen?
No, so I had my MVP all lucked up. No problem.
Was I supposed to be MVP or my backup? Was I
just
supposed to
your
be
runner-up?
Okay.
So, but I was very wishy-washy about my runner-up, and I feel like I am perpetually saying this was such a hard choice.
It was, I think.
It was. So I was between Dimitri and Francois Leclerc as my runner-up. Dimitri because of the obvious significance of his spin drive and how it scaled the project up so that it could actually make it into outer space for the very important next leg. And then but I really want to do Francois Leclerc, because even though it was so heartbreaking and soul crushing for him to damage the atmosphere and the earth to give humanity a chance, he came through. And so I feel like that deserves some props. So Francois Leclerc is my runner-up.
Okay.
Are you comfortable doing your MVP first, or do you want me to?
I will be fine doing my MVP first. So this is going to come as a surprise to no one that my MVP, for all of the reasons, is Ava Strat. Because let's face it, I've got a girl crush on her. She was incredible. And continues to be incredible, and I can't wait to see where we go from here. But for all the things that I said earlier, times like 10. We could never have done it without her. She cuts through all the BS and red tape, and even though she's not the subject matter expert, she goes, what do we need, gets the thing, and makes the thing happen, and has that vision and is executing it.
Okay. Props. I mean, I love Strat. All right, Daniel.
I'm going to just go real fast. I picked Strat as my MVP as well for all the same reasons.
Okay.
Minus the girl crush, but just respect for the world needed that hero. That's the hero we deserved, or what's the term? It's not the hero we wanted, but it's the hero that we deserved.
We deserved.
Yeah. Or we needed, or something like that. But and putting it in perspective and getting the obstacles out of the way and just making stuff happen. Yeah.
And just being able to look at things from a global perspective, right?
Yes.
Like, she did not, every time that Ryland's Grace is in awe that she's, commanding aircraft carriers and this and that, she's not letting typical boundaries diminish her view of the world is my asset pool.
Yeah. And she is a delegation queen. Like,
absolutely.
literally, she pulls the people that knows what they're doing, and then she's like,
"You're with me."
Like, will it work? Okay,
that's it. That's all I need to know.
Yeah.
You need to be at the airport because you're with us now. You need to be at the airport in 3 hours.
Yeah.
Just let all your stuff go. I think the other thing that impresses me about Strat, and I just realized it as you were talking, Jess, was she has ultimate power, and it didn't go to her head. And how few people... That's an interesting character, because so many times in literature, the person that gets absolute power gets corrupted absolutely. And it might happen, but as we see so far, she's immune to that somehow.
She's
and that
not commandeering Air Force One to go to Vegas. She is eyes on the prize.
And that's a rare thing in stories.
Have you seen Pluribus?
Yes.
Okay. It's like, that's really an oddly
very
specific thing to say.
It is.
Okay. Yeah, totally. Okay, so my MVP?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I picked Rocky. Because
I thought about it.
He is not only super smart and effective. Like, he was the one that united their ships, right? He gave Grace like a ton of options of like, what wall do you like, right?
Yeah.
And he picked, and he noted the one that he liked, and he made him a whole thing. Like, and we ended this section with him like, I'm coming on board. Like, I created something where I can come on board. And I meant to ask you, like, would you have been as eager as Grace to be like, come on over, like, come look at our tech? Like,
I think
intense.
by the time it came up, yes.
Yeah.
I think that in the beginning, like when he first kind of balked at him coming to watch him sleep, I that kind of resonated with me. Like, you're going to come into my sleeping quarters.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that. But by the time they got to that point and they realized that there is such a difference in what level they're operating at from a technology perspective, I wouldn't have hesitated at that point.
Yeah.
And he's just so dang smart, right? Like he's an engineer in his own right and is clearly making things out of thin air.
Yeah. He's just
and
making stuff happen.
You'll see that more. I think the only reason why I wouldn't do Rocky this early is because he does so much more later.
Fine.
Well, I mean, that's...
No, I know.
But just in a general sense, his best stuff is to come.
Yeah, but I think for me, it's like, it's a combination of the fact that he's very effective, brought them together, all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Also, but like, my MVP, it's not just like most valuable player type of a thing. It's like, I loved him the most.
Oh, yeah.
and he's just like adorable. Jazz hands, like all of that stuff. He's so cute. And so, he was my favorite part of the book, and so I figured he deserved the MVP spot.
There's no wrong answer. I was just giving you my opinion on it's like I would wait and do it later because
you're not wrong.
I'm not gonna be on the second show, so I have to.
You're not wrong.
Go by
That's
what
true.
I know, so
that's true. Okay. Well, we have loved having you on,
yes.
Daniel.
Thank you.
What was it like being on the podcast? Be nice.
It was awesome.
There'll be a survey. Awesome. There'll be a survey later.
Yeah.
What is that, Survey Monkey that I have to like
sure, yeah.
rate it 1 to 5? No, it was amazing. I often hear you guys kind of as you're recording, so I get to kind of experience this, and it was great. And you two are amazing human beings anyways, and getting to share in this was pretty awesome. For an amazing story with two amazing people is a pretty amazing opportunity. And I will stop saying amazing.
Amazing.
Well, honestly, it was such a pleasure having you on. Was this your first appearance on But Are There Dragons? Okay, well, what took so long? No, I think I'm glad that you did come on this one. I think it was a really good discussion. You did great, and we'll have to have you on again for other cool
Absolutely.
stuff.
Anytime. I will clear the schedule.
Perfect.
Note to self, find more cool stuff to talk about.
Yeah. I think we've got some in the back of our heads that we're going to be getting to pretty soon. So, yeah. Alrighty. Cool.
So as we wrap up episode 1 of season 6, our next episode should drop with the second half of Project Hail Mary on January 26th. That is when we are going to be discussing the second half of the book. We hope to have another guest star for you that day. Fingers crossed. Jazz hands. So, keep your eyes out for that, but we look forward to seeing you on the 26th to talk about the book as a whole. So with that, we're going to say thank you so much for tuning in to our first episode of season 6 of But Are There Dragons, brought to you by your hosts Jessica Sadai and Kritter XD, with our special guest, Mr. Jessica, Daniel himself. Please don't forget to follow us at But Are There Dragons on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, and But Dragons Pod, just one T, on X. You can also find your hosts on social media as Kritter XD and Shelf Indulgence. That's it for us today. We'll catch you on the other side of Tau Ceti.
Bye.
Bye.